Our final riding, we want to take a look at Niagara South, another close race here with Conservative candidate Fred Davies dethroning Liberal Vance Badaway, taking 48.3% of the vote. Ashley, this riding was realigned to include Fort Erie. Do you think that this played a factor in Davies winning?
It absolutely did. Fort Erie is usually a stronghold for Tony Baldinelli, and so that was a lot of Conservatives within that area. So having the map redrawn that way and having Vance having to enter into that riding, and Fred Davies and his connection as well, I think that that's how we saw this kind of play out. Vance has been elected since 2015. This is his fourth election that he's been through. He's really well liked in the community. Everyone knows him. There was a lot of investments, especially through the Seaway, and that they had going on this year. And so I think this was a surprise for many, at least that I kind of heard. But that being said, Fred Davies is well known within the community as well, and so any of his local work when he's resided municipally on different councils, and so it just goes to show you really can't rule out anything within this election, and this is one of those seats that you would have thought the incumbent would have won, where we saw that that's the only really big turnover within Niagara.
Yeah, and I mean, and that is something, that's something people are going to be talking about. Do you think that there's going to be any kind of backlash or talk about including that riding or shaking up the area?
I think the way that the lines were drawn for Vance and Chris's ridings, those were the two, and even Niagara Falls for Tony. I think that's the spillover that you see, that effect of, like you said, that it was kind of close too for St. Catharines. Yeah. And so it really throws everything into the mix. And I think that this was why this election was one to watch. It was unprecedented in so many ways that, something that we would have saw before Christmas and what the polls were showing, everything was tracking in a different direction. Then all of a sudden you have the tariffs and Trump come into play, where things that people would have banked on as far as polling and what they were seeing with traction, you had to throw it out the window. And waking up this morning and seeing these seat projections, seeing NDP losing their leader's seat, him stepping down, or Polyev not even winning his riding, but yet there's so many new Conservatives, like we're seeing with Fred, down this way, that are getting these seats. It's such a mix of what the results are showing. So really going forward, it's really going to be interesting to see what happens next.
Well, The Source had an opportunity to catch up with the new MP for Niagara South, Fred Davies. Let's go to that interview now.
Fred Davies was the only candidate to unseat a Niagara incumbent in Monday's election. We spoke to him shortly after he was declared the winner in the riding of Niagara South.
This is probably one of the most humbling experiences any human being can experience. Being elected by people in your community is something special. It was a long year and a half, knocking on doors, meeting people, talking to people. But I am so grateful for the honor of representing the people of the new riding of Niagara South. It's just an incredible honor, and I'm humbled and proud to represent them, and I look forward to the challenge.
What were your thoughts heading into today?
I always, every day I ran like I was 5 points behind. So I had, my expectations were that if we did the hard work, that people would respond, and I believe that happened. It was a long night. It was close, but at the end of the day, we had a team of people that did an amazing job in this campaign. The Conservatives haven't represented the better part of this riding for about 35 years. So this was an amazing victory for a lot of people who waited a lot of years to have a Conservative represent them in the House of Commons.
Davies will join Conservatives Dean Allison and Tony Baldinelli in Ottawa, and he will count on both of them for advice as he adjusts to life on Parliament Hill.
I've talked to both of them tonight, and they're very excited. We've got a new caucus in Niagara, so it is. Dean's very excited. He's offered me his offices in Ottawa to get started, to help hire staff and get things moving. So it's going to be interesting. I'm looking forward to working with Tony and Dean in the House of Commons.
What's sort of key for you in the days ahead?
Look, I don't know. exactly what the timing is going to be. I know the writs have to come back. I suspect that there will be a swearing in 2 to 3, maybe 4 weeks. I have to assemble a staff in Ottawa and in the constituency, find a constituency office. There's a lot of work to do. But I've got a good team behind me helping me that will be giving me some good advice as we move this thing forward.
Davies' name would be on approximately half of the ballots cast, and his win comes at the expense of incumbent Liberal candidate Vance Badaway.
You know, Vance and I have known each other for a long time, and I want to say thank you to Vance for the years and the commitment that he's made to this riding. You can't take anything away from Vance. He's a wonderful human being. He's done great things, and I'm grateful to be able to step up at this time, represent the new riding in the House of Commons, and I'm grateful for Vance and his service to the community.